This is episode 536. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about your unconscious mind and your comfort zone. I also like to call it your complacent zone. And so, there's nothing more damaging in a person's journey to success than their comfort zone. Although it may sound nice because of the word comfort, it really isn't. Because when we start to feel comfortable and safe with what we have, we start to lose our drive to achieve more. And we get stuck in a perpetual state of denial. The problem with being in a comfort zone is that taking risks becomes too difficult because you're afraid of losing what you have, or even know what you don't even know what much better you could have. You don't even think about the possibilities. So the fear of losing a lifestyle that makes you feel unaccomplished can be bigger than the desire to create a better one. Now think about that. You're living in a certain environment. You have created this, and it's become very comfortable. But yet there is more out there. There is not more material possessions, but just a better, right? Whether it be a lesser commute, whether it be a nicer home or a better school district. There's more ways to have a better life, but we're so afraid to step out of what we know. There's an expression, the devil known is better than the devil unknown. And this is what happens with a lot of people with this comfort zone, the complacent zone. Well, I know where I am. And actually, it's the ego that is telling us that. It's like, it's they're like, why should you look for something else? You're alive right now. You're doing good. So we hold ourselves back from accomplishing much, much more by staying in this comfort zone. And so there are some ways that you can recognize the limits of your comfort zone, or if you're really in it. And it makes it hard for you to capitalize on good opportunities. You may have a job coming around, or maybe an investment, and you go, no, I better not, because what if this happens? What if that happens? And you go, well, we're fine right now. We don't need any more. So then you start to justify letting these opportunities slip by. It keeps you from improving your skills, whether it's a skill at a hobby, whether it's skiing, snowboarding, CrossFit, or it could be a skill at work, a leadership skill, a communication skill. It's like, no, if I try something new with it and I fail, then what's going to happen? I know what I have here, so I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to try to improve myself. And this is all in the unconscious mind. These are things that hold us back. We don't even know why we're being held back, but we do it. We self-sabotage all the time with it. And it limits your ability to become a stronger person, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And it forces you to forget about your personal goals, right? Because goals mean accomplishing something you've never done before, which means that you have to do something different, which means you have to step out of your comfort zone. And it limits your networking reach, meaning your friends, your acquaintances, your business partners or potential business partners. It just really paralyzes us. It's almost like, I don't know if you've had dogs, but if you haven't, there is this concept of an invisible fence. Well, it's not a concept, it really is true. And it's an underground wire that you put around your house and put a collar on the dog. And when it gets close, it's actually a radio antenna. And so when it gets close to this wire, they're wearing a little zapper around their neck, and it zaps them and it tells them to go back. Well, that's our comfort zone. We start getting close to the edge of it and we zap ourselves and we go back. So it limits our reach as far as networking potential is concerned. It keeps us from trying new things because those new things are on the other side of that electric fence. And we go, oh, there's something new over there. And you get closer and you zap it. But we are the ones who are zapping ourselves. We are the ones who put that invisible fence, that wire, in our unconscious. And it limits the way we see relationships. It just limits our comfort zone. And that's why I call it a complacent zone as well sometimes, is that it just limits everything about us. It's nice to take a rest at the comfort zone and then get up and do things, develop new relationships. You'll get that little bit of a shock when you jump over the wire, but then you'll survive and everything will be just fine. So some of the benefits, though, of changing your unconscious mind and this comfort zone are more clarity when working on your projects, because you'll look further in the future, which is in some way outside your comfort zone. So you'll be working on projects, thinking about what can I do different? What can I do better? And you'll provide clarity on that. It's an easier time figuring out your next business move, right? So if you own a business and you need to hire people, or if you're involved in a business as a manager or director, when you step out of that comfort zone, you'll start to see the potential and figuring out what is next for you to enhance your business. It also includes a constant feeling of discomfort with things that you used to feel comfortable. One of the things, there's a saying out there, is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. When you can be uncomfortable and you can be okay with being uncomfortable, that is such a great benefit, because then you can move beyond your fears. Your fear is the comfort zone, and you can move beyond that invisible fence that's going to shock us. We know it's going to happen, but we continue to move beyond it anyway. And then the confidence to take calculated risks, not just, hey, I'm going to put money in some new a new stock, whatever. No, we're going to do some calculated risks, but because you'll be stepping out of your comfort zone and reprogramming your unconscious mind, you'll be able to take those calculated risks. And you'll have the courage to leave your comfort zone, right? So all of these things are intertwined as far as, success and achieving something new and your unconscious mind. So if you're listening to this podcast on a podcast channel, I also have a YouTube channel, because what I'm going to describe now is a picture on the YouTube channel. You can look up Warrior Mind Coach. But imagine, if you will, two parallel lines that are running horizontal, and there's some space between them. Let's just say you could draw it on a paper. There's some space between it. Well, the bottom one is the mental support. The top one is the mental resistance. That mental support is when we hit rock bottom, whether it's finance, whether it's relationship, whether it's money. That is how far we are willing to go. And when we get there, we stop it, we start to take action, and we start to make progress. And we go up and down kind of like a zigzag, and we get really close to the upper line, which is the mental resistance. And then that's kind of like our comfort zone, the edge of our comfort zone, or our complacent zone. And then we start to do self-sabotages. We make excuses for not going forward. We're fearful. We get frustrated with the results and we stop. And then we start to go down again. And we'll go down towards that mental support. Maybe we won't hit rock bottom, but we go, ooh, this feels way too familiar. I better start taking action. And lo and behold, what happens is we go up and down, up and down, up and down between this mental support and this mental resistance. Now, what forms this mental resistance and support is our beliefs, our emotions, our values, our past experiences. And what keeps us in our comfort zone is our story. It's the story we tell ourselves. Well, I'm not worth $100,000 a year. I'm not worth $200,000 a year. It's the stories that we use to justify us staying in our comfort zone. And if you're looking at this now on the YouTube channel, you can see just above that mental resistance is our goals. These are things that we say we want to do. We want to have a better physique. We want to have a better income. We want to have a better relationship. We want to live in a different house. And yet we set goals to try to achieve them. But then when we start getting close to it, again, the fear, the excuses, and then our story comes in, and we repeat this over and over and over and over again. So this is where the unconscious mind and your comfort zone come into play, because these beliefs, emotions, values, past experiences are all embedded in your unconscious mind, and they raise their ugly head, their invisible ugly head, when we start getting close to that mental line of resistance, which is just within reach of our goals. And then we just get stuck, and we wonder why we get stuck. So the comfort zones that we create in life are built on the bricks that are made up of fear and lack of motivation. We are never going to be able to break out of the negative mindset if we continue to allow ourselves to live our lives within the boundaries of these comfort zone, within the boundaries of this invisible fence. And so, are you ready let me ask you, because you're listening to this to hopefully improve yourself, this podcast, but are you ready to start a completely new chapter in your life and leave those limiting beliefs in the past? Or do you want to be like a Groundhog Day and keep reliving them over and over and over and over again? If you want to make a change, go to warriormindcoach.com, scroll down and ask for and request the introductory consultation. If you want to live the same life you're doing and be stuck like Groundhog Day, repeating the same stuff over and over and over, then this podcast was just entertainment. But when you're over at warriormindcoach.com, you can see the show notes on this, as well as some other blog posts and stuff to help you make a decision if you want to change your life. And since you'll be on the internet looking for my site, please follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.